Hi team, I'm Catherine Avery, ADHD coach, who just like you has 50 tabs open in my brain at once. I've spent the last decade helping midlife women with ADHD turn chaos into clarity, and I've lived most of that journey myself. In this video, I'll share how years of running on caffeine, chaos, and guilt left me running on fumes until I finally hit the wall of ADHD burnout. I had to learn how to recharge differently, to trade productivity for presence, and finally give my brain the rest it was begging for. Here's what I learned after years of masking, overcompensating, and crashing. ADHD isn't about lacking willpower, it's about managing a different kind of energy system. Think of it this way: neurotypical brains are like hybrid cars, steady, predictable, fuel efficient. But ADHD brains, as Dr. Ned Hallowell says, we're more like race cars with bicycle brakes. We're powerful and fast, but we burn through fuel differently. We might hyper focus for hours and drain the tank, or scatter our energy across 12 directions all at once. And once we get going, it's really hard to stop. The problem isn't the car, it's the manual. We've been trying to follow the hybrid car guide when what we really need is the sports car variation. Who doesn't love a sports car? My energy management framework is 5 simple ways to fuel up, protect, and optimize your energy so you can stop running on empty and start working with your brain instead of against it. I'll be honest, part of why I built this system is because I needed alternatives. I'm allergic to amphetamines, so traditional ADHD medication isn't an option for me. Not so fun fact, you still need skills even if you take pills. You need easy daily habits that actually work for your wiring. And I'm not sharing this because I've got it all figured out. I don't. I'm sharing it because I know what it's like to feel broken, like everyone else got the instruction manual and you didn't. And to finally realize it's not you, it's your ADHD. And there are ways to make it better. So A number 1, first and sense, sleep. Skip sleep and watch your brain betray you by 10 a.m. I used to think I could power through on 5 hours of sleep, sometimes less, like some kind of productivity superhero. But running an ADHD brain on no sleep is like trying to charge your phone with a frayed cable. You might get 12%, but good luck making it through the day. Your ADHD brain already struggles to balance dopamine, norepinephrine. When you're sleep deprived, you're asking that same phone to run every app at once while the battery drains. Every executive function, focus, patience, decision making starts glitching and crashing. But here's the beautiful part. Sleep is like plugging into a proper charger overnight. While you're dreaming, your brain is literally restocking the neurotransmitters you burn through during the day. Sleep isn't just rest, it's brain maintenance. And when you treat it like the foundation it is, everything else gets easier. Speaking of easier, let's talk about the medicine you can make with your own 2 feet. Exercise. Everyone told me exercise was supposed to give me energy. So why did I feel more exhausted just thinking about going to the gym? 10 years ago, after my cancer diagnosis, I knew I had to get serious about movement again. But I was stuck in that old all or nothing mindset, thinking exercise had to be a big production instead of a small act of care. Then I read something that changed everything. Dr. John Rady said, movement lights fire on every level of your brain. That's when I realized, light bulb moment, my ADHD brain doesn't need a workout. It needs a jump start. So every time I dance to Taylor Swift in my kitchen, Opalite anyone? I'm literally lighting up my dopamine pathways. When I walk around the block, I'm setting my focus circuits on fire in the best possible way. I can't tell you how many brilliant ideas I have when I'm getting out of my brain and into my body. Because when you're stuck in that spinning, overwhelmed headspace, movement is like flipping a reset switch. That 20-minute kayak ride, I'm not just exercising. I'm engineering my own neurochemical cocktail. I don't move for the scale anymore. I move for my brain. Because when you realize movement is medicine you make yourself, everything changes. And here's what powers that medicine. Number 3 in sense, nutrition. So the nutrition advice that finally clicked for me, your ADHD brain doesn't need a diet. It needs fuel that actually works with it. For years, I treated food like the enemy, counting calories, cutting carbs, following whatever diet promised to fix me. It was like putting 87 gas in a race car and wondering why the engine kept sputtering. Now, I'm not a nutritionist and I don't play one on TV. I am, however, a huge advocate of balance. And here's what balance actually looks like. I pay attention to how food makes my brain feel, not just my body. That sugary donut for breakfast, within an hour, my ADHD symptoms are cranked up to 11. Scattered thoughts, zero focus, emotional roller coaster. But having protein at every meal, healthy fats, lots of water, that's like premium food. My brain hums along instead of stalling out. I'm not saying never have a donut. I'm saying notice what happens when you do. Because when you start fueling your brain instead of just following rules, everything gets clearer. Speaking of clarity, let's talk about building it into your daily life, which is 4, the S, systems. Here's what broke me for years. I kept trying to build discipline when what I really needed was better design. Side note, I always hear the word discipline in my dad's voice. Have any of those? I used to think that systems meant complicated planners and fancy apps, basically adding more stuff to an already overwhelming plate. But then I realized something. Systems aren't about adding complexity. They're about removing decisions. Think of it like this. Your ADHD brain starts each day with a full battery of decision-making energy. But every choice you make drains a little power. You can let your battery run down to 20% by 10 a.m. asking yourself questions like, what should I wear? What's for dinner tonight? Or you can design your life to preserve that energy. Laying out clothes the night before, that's not being overly organized. That's saving your battery power for work that actually matters. It's also organized. That's a good thing. Menu planning on Sundays, so you're not staring into the fridge at 5 p.m., that's not just being prepared. That's keeping your mental energy charged for the decisions that move your work and your life forward. Systems can be anything that helps your brain spend less energy remembering and deciding. Not wasting energy on small things is the goal. And systems aren't about perfection. They're about protection. Protecting your brain's precious energy for the stuff that actually matters. And speaking of what moves your life forward, let's talk about the space around you. This is 5, the E, environment. So let's talk about doom piles for a second. Those mysterious stacks that seem to reproduce overnight. And they contain everything from important bills to that random screw you're definitely going to need someday. My Achilles heel is tech cords. And before you tell me, I know exactly where everything is in my piles. Trust me. I said the same thing for years. But here's the reality check I needed. And maybe you do too. Your environment is either giving you energy or stealing it from you every single day. There is no neutral. I used to think my scattered, cluttered spaces were just lived in, but every time I walked into my kitchen and couldn't find the scissors or spent 10 minutes hunting for my reading glasses, I was basically paying an energy tax. Think of it this way. Your ADHD brain starts each day with a limited energy budget. You can spend 20% of it on where did I put my keys, or walking into a room and saying, what was I looking for? Or you can design your space to give it energy back instead of constantly draining it. Now I design my spaces to help my brain remember, not test it. A drop zone for my keys near the door, clear bins with labels instead of mystery baskets, a digital command center instead of scattered Post-it notes. Even scissors in every room, because that 2-minute search used to cost me 20 minutes of focus. That's what it really cost you. I'm not aiming for Pinterest perfect. I'm aiming for energy efficient, because when your environment stops draining you and starts supporting you, you suddenly have so much more fuel for what actually matters. So I'm going to give you a quick recap of sense, right? Sleep as your foundation, exercise, like movement is medicine, nutrition is fuel, not rules, systems that protect your energy, and an environment that gives back more than it takes. This is how you maintain your energy and focus without burning out. 5 ways to fuel your unique brain instead of constantly running on empty. Last but not least, I want you to remember this. You don't need to overhaul your entire life tomorrow. Pick one element from Sense that resonated most and start there. Maybe it's creating that drop zone by your door. Maybe it's dancing to one Taylor Swift or Rush song. Small shifts create big changes when you're working with your brain, not against it. If you're in this midlife ADHD season 2, balancing business, caregiving, and everything in between, you're so not alone. Drop a comment and let me know which part of Sense you're going to try first. And if you haven't seen it yet, click below to watch my video, What No One Tells You About Being Diagnosed with ADHD in Midlife. It's the heart-to-heart that explains why understanding your brain is the first step to rebuilding your energy and your confidence. You are not broken. You are not too much. You're just wired for a different kind of brilliance. And now you have the energy management system to support it. Thanks for being here. If this resonated, please hit subscribe, and I'll see you next week, one tab at a time.